Olá, boa noite a todos os presentes aqui na sala, boa noite a quem está lá em casa connosco. Esta sessão será feita em inglês, porque temos um convidado connosco da Finlândia, e por isso eu vou já fazer as apresentações em inglês. Hi everyone, hi Samu. Tonight we are hosting another session of our parallel program of Human Academy. Human Academy is the capacity building program of Ponta Delgada Azores 2027, the candidacy that Ponta Delgada is running for becoming next Portuguese European Capital of Culture. And tonight we have in this session Sustain Azores, represented by Joana Borges Coutinho, founder of this young consultancy team composed of experts in various fields who share something in common, a passion for sustainability with the aim of accelerating the Azores transition to a fairer, circular and low-carbon economy by supporting the implementation of public policies and private initiatives that contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals, and also known as the UN's Agenda 2030. And with us from Finland, we have Samu Forsblom. He is the Artistic Program Director of Oulu 2026, the next European Capital of Culture of Finland, and also the Cultural Director of the City of Oulu, among other things that you can check on our website. So I will pass the word to Joana, who will host and moderate this session. Thank you both for being here with us, and thank you everyone.
Thank you, Rita. I don't need it. I have a Britney Spears equipment thing going on here. So, welcome, Samu. Lovely to see you again. I hear the weather is rather cold in Finland. We have 18 degrees going here in Ponta Delgada, so not wanting to be annoying or anything. But as we are talking about climate change, I am going to very quickly pass the word on to you because we have this first hour dedicated to hearing a little bit more about cultural climate change, which is, of course, the theme for Oulu European Capital of Culture in 2026. So could you tell us a little bit more about that and what do you mean by this, how this theme came along, and can we then start our conversation over this?
Yeah, sure. So nice to see you. So it's in Finland. It's actually not so cold. It's only -5. so yeah, we can survive. And it's really lovely to be here. This is actually my third Portuguese presentation. So I might move there quite soon if this job continues. So perhaps I. If you allow me now to say some words about our project, so I share my screen. Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Good. It's always.
If you click on presenters mode, because right now we can see the entire presentation.
Yeah. Okay. I tell about our journey, and of course our year is 26, and this is for us also ongoing process at the moment. What we mean by sustainability and how we are going to do the things within our European Capital of Culture. But as mentioned, our within Big Book, our main concept was cultural climate change, and I will little by little tell you what we mean by that. But if you need to put it in a simple way, so it is about making inspirational future, but in a sustainable way, which I think is the best thing what culture can do in your area. So we are here. one of the most noticed European capital of culture ever. So actually 24 there is Bodø in Norway, which is much more northern than us, but for sure it's non-EU country, so in that way a bit different. Then there was Umeå in Sweden, 2014. It's a 300 kilometers down from us.
Samu, I
Yes.
don't know if you can hear us, but you are not projecting. We're not seeing we're still seeing the operator's view, not the slide view. So we don't know whether you are changing slides.
I don't know.
Perhaps you could click on the top right-hand corner, the top bottom right, the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Now we've got you full screen, which is
Yeah,
lovely.
and now I put the, let me see, let's try this one. How about now?
Yes, well, now again, we're seeing the projector's view, but that's better than it was before.
That's weird. Can you see it changing?
Yes, but it's still in presenter's mode on our side. So we can see the existing slide and the following slide. It's probably to do with how you are sharing your screen.
Yeah, but it looks normal to me.
Okay, well, perhaps go back to what you were, yeah, this is fine. I think this is fine. It's just be aware that we can see the next slide.
Yeah, so, yeah, but okay, I think we need to go like this because in my wait a minute, perhaps I can change it here. I'm always using Teams, so that's the thing that...
I have the same problem the other way around. I use Meets and everybody seems to use Teams.
Just a moment, perhaps.
I would love to be able to help you, but of course I don't really
No, I think...
I don't really speak Finnish, so...
Now it's not showing anything.
Yeah, but Samu, it was fine as it was. I mean, if it's working for you, this last view kind of works for us as well.
Now it did something totally. Okay, I need to go like this. There's no other way.
Yeah, this is fine. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. So let's get back to this. So there are no surprise slides, you know already the next one. So yeah, but anyhow. So Oulu is most biggest city in the most northern parts of Europe, and in that sense, in that area, our responsibility is in a way bigger than not only our own city. So it's the biggest city in the Finland and in those areas as well as Sweden and Norway. And our location is for sure something which made our position and title important for the most northern parts of Europe. This is a focus of our own. So it's Oulu plus 35 municipalities altogether. And our project area is sad but true from the Russian border to the Swedish border. And of course, this geographical situation where we are now is for sure challenging because the municipalities, the cities which were in the eastern border, they had planned many projects with the Russian counterparts, but of course now all the projects have frozen and we are not going onwards with them. But our area is quite diverse, so nature plays really strong role. There's Oulu, biggest city. The other cities are relatively small, but then there are really interesting nature locations, mountains, lakes, lot of forest, cultural history as well, really odd events like championship of world guitar and so on and so forth. So I think if you look Finland, the most iconic place is for sure the Lapland. We are not Lapland, we are north, but Lapland is the next area from us above. And then there is our capital area like Helsinki in the south, and Turku, the former capital of culture, is really beautiful. But our area perhaps is an area that is not known so much about cultural tourism or actually culture at all, even though there are many great things happening, and our shared history is something to think about it for the future. But actually, I think that was one of the biggest points, because in the European Capital of Culture competition, we were able to really argument why we need this title. We need to make future together, and as well as many cities like Oulu, the problem is that young people tend to move to the capital areas, to the Europe, and we really need to think that what is the thing in our area which is Arctic, but is also urban and full of nature, and I think the cultural climate change is the thing we need. We need to appreciate our history, our roots, our culture, but we need to do something for the future, inspire people and have young people love our area and find new identity. About the values behind cultural climate change, well, there are three core values. So what we mean by inspirational, we don't want to do the things we have done before. We want to find new ways to bring inspiring and unique culture. And we also like to take the culture to new areas, to the place for everyday life, use old buildings and go to the suburbs and things like that. And we want to see people, our citizens, not only experiencers of culture, but also taking part of making the cultural year. And I believe that this time, what we are living in Europe, we need cultural climate change more than ever. We need to do things together, and culture and art are as it best to address those ideas and reconnect us as a human beings. Then about sustainable commitment. So for sure, guess you have talked about it, and you mentioned also the UN Sustainable Development Goals, but we try to analyze everything what we do through ecological, socially, cultural, and economically sustainability, and to build our cultural program and our organization through this. And as I said, we are quite in the beginning of our process. But anyway, this is the ongoing thing, how we are dealing and taking also new cultural program inside to our cultural programming. We need to ask these questions: that is the production we are going to do really fulfilling these values? And then European value, which I believe, as I said, is really important. It's also dealing with the European Union basic starting point as a keeping of peace. So I think in this moment, the European Capital of Culture's basic core values, what the competition is quite a lot about is sharing European values and showing the richness of European Capital of Culture, European cities. So this is really important, and I think promoting things what we can do together in Europe, they promote also peace and connect cities and people, hopefully through this crisis, and make better future for all of us. This is more about our city, and it's also this lot of about our sustainable future, and how we started our process was to ask young people how they see our city and what are the things they want to see in the future. What would be the core thing that they can stay and they want to stay in North and perhaps come back even they go studying or working somewhere else. And the things what people was mainly saying about Oulu and these northern areas was that our city is too hard tech city. Oulu is a Nokia city. It's known about a lot of technological things. Actually, 4 billion people are using technology developed in Oulu with their mobile phones at today. But this is also, there's a downside of the softer values of the cultural development in our city. It's lacking. Then unbalanced community in our city is that 8% is spending 80% of our money to the health sector. So culture is something which can also dealing with well-being and cultural well-being. And to live in a peripheral region, not in the big metropolis, but outside of them, on the other hand, is a challenge. But then there is also this upside of that thing that the northern is interesting. I believe many artists along the line we have discussed about our project and 2026 year, they are really thrilled of doing something, not in London, Paris, or Berlin, but really in the edge of Europe, and they find it as a source of inspiration. But then we have this machine, cultural climate change machine. It works through 3 key themes. Brave hinterland, cool contrast, wild city. I'll tell you something about them shortly. We want to make stronger geopolitical impacts. We want to improve well-being. We want to do actions to stop climate change within our cultural program. We want to improve life chances for young people. We want to reconnect people through art and culture, create more jobs in a creative sector, and rebuild our cultural system, that it's not only institutions who are doing things, but the third sector and civil society is taking part. And what we hope in the future is a vibrant, more vibrant, gripping city, balanced community, and creative region. And the journey from hard to tech to create creative and vibrant is the thing what cultural climate change is doing. These are the main themes how we cultural program is going to build, and they are also part of the cultural climate change. So the Brave Hinterland is about city and nature, and how city and nature can live together, and how can we appreciate the things what we have here. We still have snow and ice, but the climate is warming more than in other places in Europe. So this is really precious thing for us, and we want to keep it in the future as well. So Brave Hinterland is about northern nature, about living in the edge of Europe, and hopefully connecting other places which are in the edges of Europe, and they probably have similar kind of challenges what we have. Cool Contrast is about art and technology, about different kind of opposites, about new ways of making innovation, and I'm sure that creative sector, arts and culture, can be a big part in the future work, where innovation, creativeness is a really important thing when artificial intelligence and machines are taking over the basic work. Wild City is about bringing arts and culture in the city, about the neighborhoods, about the ordinary places where we live. Then going a little bit deeper about the sustainability issue, where we are in the beginning of our journey. But ecological sustainability, of course, as easiest, and I will talk a little bit more about that. For sure, it's an environmentally sustainable cultural productions. And in a way, it's perhaps the easiest to do and measure as a sustainable issue. Social sustainability in our project means that culture belongs to everybody. We are doing the European Capital of Culture year with emphasis on minorities, special groups, and big focus on diversity. So we try to find new ways of having dialogue with people with many different kind of communities in our area. And for sure, it's one of the 6 criteria to become ECOC is to take care of these issues. Cultural sustainability is, I think, quite big issue in the programming because European Capital of Culture, it's always balancing between local and international. And if you end up shopping great international productions to your city, so you can create great 1 year fireworks of international arts and culture, but then again, what does it leave to your city? What is the sustainability in the cultural terms? And I think that that's not the way to do. But on the other hand, you need to build new kind of capacity. So for us, the best solution in many or almost all our production is the way that we want to create dialogue between international and local artists. And by that I mean that, for example, if we at the moment we are doing our flagship productions and they have international artists involved, opera director from Metropolitan Opera and great world-class artists. But we ask them to work with the people of Oulu. We want that the artists of Oulu can learn from them and they can be in a fruitful dialogue together and build new kind of cultural legacy and capacity to our city. And also it's about not forgetting your roots. We have a lot of cultural history within our cultural program, but then also I believe that European Capital of Culture is a great platform of combining your roots, your heritage with new kind of way, with new fresh innovations and send it to also to new generation, younger generation of your city. Of course, here we comes to the virtual worlds and how can you for example, tar business was a big thing for our city in the 19th century, and now we are thinking how we can combine new technology and artistic ways to build up the old heritage of tar exporting. And economic, as you probably know, there are a lot of monitoring about economical impact of European Capital of Culture. But of course, when we are talking about sustainability, so it's not so easy to talk about it. For sure, if you want to at the same time bring a lot of people abroad, they need to travel, they need to come to your city. That's a paradox in terms of sustainability. So you need to somehow make a logic. On the other hand, European Capital of Culture cannot happen without flying. If you live in northern Finland, it's impossible. But what are the ways you can compensate it? What is the thing, how you can work with art and technology in this issue? Does everybody needs to come to your city, or can you perhaps do digital cultural year throughout Europe? It's a hard question, but for sure economic should be the focus on local economic, using the companies on your area, and also thinking of big infrastructural things. So I think we are living, at least in our city, the times that it's better to use old buildings, renovate them for the cultural use than perhaps building new palaces or arenas for culture. And then promotion of environmental sustainability. to be more precise in environmental issues. So what can we do? Can we change the world? What is the meaning for us about ice and snow, and about the thing that actual climate change impacts us more than many other people or cities in Europe? So I think there are two dimensions what we can do, and for sure, everything what we do within the projects needs to go with the sustainable standards and criteria. I will talk to you soon about those. But I think the most important thing what arts and culture do, and really going deep diving in the thing that people start to feel and understand, is the raising awareness of environment and through arts and culture, through inspirational arts and culture. I was myself in Ars Electronica in Linz, which is the major digital arts festival in Europe, in Austria. And I was really, really inspired of the presentation which European Satellite Association gave during that presentation. It was in this kind of deep space, digital cave space, where one of the people working, they showed diving to the space, and basically what was the title for his presentation was that is there a B plan for Earth? If we are able to ruin the place where we are living, so what can we do? So he went to the space with his computer, and we went to other planet, and then he said that, yeah, this looks quite good. It's perhaps a little bit like Earth. We could live here. The only problem is that it's 200 million light years in order to get there. So that doesn't help us. So let's come back to our own, more close to our Earth, and then all the other planets. Yeah, this is good, but there's no water anymore. There used to be water in Mars like millions of years ago, and actually there is no B plan. So the best way all the time is to save our own planet. And that was just an example how you can affect on the people through science and art really deeply, that I also remember that thing now when I'm telling it to you. And this is the thing we want to do within our European Capital of Culture, is really addressing the issue. One of our flagship production is called Climate Clock. It will be 6 public artworks within nice placemaking within our 6 villages around Oulu. It's a project about changing an environment and how the nature has changed and how the changes have affected the local people. So there will be a huge community participatory project before the public artworks start to appear to the locations. Artists working with local people, communities, and discussing about nature, changing nature, about climate change. Not in this way that you are blaming somebody, but as a phenomenon, talking about what they think about climate. This is one of my favorite work. It's not in Oulu, but it might be something like we are doing in Oulu, how art can combine the relationship of community to the nature and then reflect also that. So this is in near Leeuwarden. It's the artwork called The Ice Fountain, the place in Dokkum. Leeuwarden was European Capital of Culture 2018. And this was one of the villages where people were able to skate in the canals, even during the 90s. So the canals was in ice, people had a skating competition and so on. And this artwork is reminder of people of changing climate conditions. And this artwork is performing with the solar panel ice on the surface of this artwork. I think it's brilliant. It's a really genius work. But Climate Clock is our production, and we are making public arts, which will be highlighting the issues of climate change. This is me playing trumpet in an ice hole, and polar bear pitching is a it used to be a business pitching competition. So it was a kind of Shark Tank kind of thing that business people are presenting the idea from the ice hole, and then there's a jury who is giving a prize to the best initiatives. But now we are turning it in a different way. So we want to pitch new climate innovations, what companies are doing in the future, and this everything will happen in this ice hole, and it's an experience for everybody for sure. Then we have some nice things for young people as well, thinking of climate issues in a artistic way. So this is Frozen People Festival. It's held on the surface of frozen sea, and the electricity, it's electronic music festival as well as a fashion festival. So the electricity for the festival is made by cycling those things they have here, and this is something we want to develop in the future, to talk about climate and new ways of energies. Then for sure, in our program, we have a lot of things we want to do in the nature. We have a project called Natural Stages, where people can go by paddling or hiking to the places. And of course, this is something we need to do really carefully to set up the limits, how many people can attend and really appreciate the nature. But then again, there's also the thing that take people to the nature, make them to feel and appreciate the nature, and change perhaps the attitudes and behavior of people by doing arts and culture within the nature locations. Important thing what I mentioned is that we are not going to build anything new. I know that they are European Capital of Culture, which are putting a lot of money to actually making new buildings, but I believe that this day it's wise to think that what we already have, and many important and inspiring and interesting culture is happening in old buildings, and for sure you can turn them and reuse buildings and make them interesting locations for culture. This place is Pikisaari. It's an island in our city, and there was a lot of small industries, and actually this place used to be a artisan school, and now these buildings are empty, and we are going to make new cultural center for these old factory buildings there. Arctic Food Festival and Arctic Food Lab is a project about the most purest food in the world, the food which has raised in the extreme weather conditions, and it's quite unique. And it's also something to do with the environmental sustainability, that you can really appreciate the ingredients and secure the conditions that these kind of ingredients can be there also for future. Again, making things visible and make people to appreciate what they have in their nature more. And as I said, the Arctic thing, to make people to think about that we still have ice, we still have snow. You can skate, you can be happy in the winter conditions, and we have many projects dealing with this, playing ice hockey, big events, and having showcases within the scene of ice and snow. And yes, we have many more. You can read them our bid book, but we are having project with Earth Time and Adaptation, which is artistic project about different kind of future scenarios about climate issues in our planet. Tomorrow's Wardrobe is about sustainable fashion making. Stone Age survival strategies will happen in our Stone Age village. we have that kind of belief it not. And Stone Age survival strategies about our relationship as a human being, how it was really much linked to the nature way back then. And then we have a climate arena, which is held in a small municipality called E. E has been able to reduce emissions 80%. So it's really world-class example how small city can do things and really brand itself with the environmental sustainability issues. Yes, this was the part of how to address these issues through arts making. And then it's the other side of the coin that really the core thing that now when we are producing things, when we are doing ourselves, when we are implementing our cultural programs, so we need to be greatest example how you can make arts and cultural production in an environmentally sustainable way. So what we did was that we created a project called the Most Sustainable European Capital of Culture. So it's about supporting events, festival projects in the European Capital of Culture, understanding what they can do and what they need to do, and what are the criteria in order to make sustainable project or event. And this is the interesting thing there, that there are also businesses involved. So they are innovators and events which try to find perhaps small demos, small ideas which can then lead bigger solutions for sustainable future. So companies are doing things together with events and cultural workers. So they are pilot testing, and festivals are the mini labs for testing new innovations. The project provide festivals also carbon footprint calculations and suggestions how they should work in the future. Actually, there was really interesting thing. We had our light art festival just last weekend, and the media was writing about that, how we dare to do light art festival in that kind of time when the energy crisis is here and the energy is so expensive and things like that. So what the festival did was that they actually calculate about how the lights are using energy. And now with the LED technology nowadays, light festival consumption is the same amount than one wood house is having in 1 month. So single wood house. So that was nothing. The most biggest footprints came from traveling. So it's always good to have the real data that you can actually talk about the real terms and real arguments. So about the guidebook. So at the moment we have launched open call for projects, and in the open call for to becoming part of a cultural capital of Oulu, European Capital of Culture program, we ask that that the people who are signing in making the application, by submitting the application, they will be ready to use these criteria when they start to make their own production. And this is the way we want to be sure that everything what we do under European Capital of Culture will be guided by these guidelines. So they are of course quite basic things, but this is the thing we have seen important for our city. So for example, travel and transportation, choose a venue accessible by public transport, by biking or walking instead of your own car. Encourage sustainable travel and inform both artists and public about low carbon travel options. If you use the car to transport people or goods, keep a driving logbook. Energy, choose grid electricity or another low emission option. Monitor energy consumption, use energy efficient devices. Waste disposal, get the necessary waste containers and guide visitors to recycle correctly, organize smoking in the event area so that cigarette butts do not end up on the ground, clean the event area and its immediate surroundings after the event, choose food vendors offering vegetarian food, do not use disposable plastic tableware. Procurement and materials. So when you choose the companies to work with you, so include responsibility criteria in the procurement tenders. So ask also the companies fulfill your ideology. Prefer multi-year purchases and materials. Do not share disposable handouts or accessories. Food and drink. Choose catering services committed to responsibility. Choose food vendors offering vegetarian food. Do not use disposable plastic tableware. Water and drainage. Do not offer self-bottled water. Organize a water station and ask customers to bring their own refillable water bottle. Make sure that no wastewater or chemicals end up on the ground and thus into nature and waterways. So really simple, clear things, but if our project can fulfill this, so we are really far actually with our productions. It's just a picture about one festival in the north part of our region, Ruka, where these recycling booths are also some kind of artworks as well. So becoming at the end of my presentation. So my thoughts in this year 2022, and we still have some years to go and make our program ready in this case. So I think for us is we have to define what we mean by sustainability. As I said, for sure, it's not only the economic, environmental things. It's much more wider, bigger thing, and you need to think yourself what do you want to address on that issue. And for sure, this UN Sustainable Development Goals is one way to start your work. But then again, you have to do the work yourself and analyze your programming and your organizational structure, what you really mean. And then work through chosen values. There are a lot of examples also within our case that we say that, okay, sustainability is really important. We want to do it like that. And then you end up buying a T-shirt for your company logo or hat, and then it ends up that it's totally not produced in a sustainable way at all. So it needs to be in every details. Of course, we all make mistakes, but it needs to be a really horizontal thing what you do. And then create guidelines. If you have open goals, you need to find new project partners. You need to say beforehand, not later. That beforehand you have to say that, okay, we love that you give a suggestion about cultural program, but is it okay for you that you can obey these guidelines we have committed ourselves? Measure and analyze, compensate. The compensation is, in our case, something that I know that there are a lot of companies who can offer the way to do it with just paying something. But I think much more interesting and important thing would be to do something within your own region, your own area, to do something with nature, compensate the things there, plant new trees. So in that way, actually, when you start to compensate within your own region, at the same time, you are creating a cultural program. And that's quite of interesting stuff. We had one project partner, Nature Services of Finland, and they suggested us that we could make a voluntary work projects in nature, ask people to do something for the nature as a voluntary work, and combine that with the art. So there can be also music, dance, whatever, and then also go to the nature and do a really nice project there. I think that would be a really nice thing, inspiring thing. And hybridizing your events, we have promised that 70% of our cultural program will be also, some part of it will be in the digital format. I don't believe, and I don't want the whole Europe come to the Oulu year 26, and for sure it won't happen. But anyway, I think it's really important to think also the digital approach in the future after COVID, when we have learned something about it. And then I think, then again, it's so easy to say that culture is so small sector in a way in this sustainable thing, and they are bigger players, and there are politicians and big companies who need to do the work. But as I said, I think that science, popularizing science and making art, addressing these issues are one of the most powerful ways to change the attitudes of people. And that's why I believe that European Capital of Culture and Arts and Culture can really change the world. Then just one notion, information. So at the moment we have open call to become part of the Capital of Culture program in Oulu. You can find it in our website, and about the guides and criteria what we are asking. And there you can also see that we ask every project to fulfill the sustainable criteria what we ask. So thank you.
Thank you, Samu. That was a very interesting presentation, and perhaps you could stop sharing your screen now, and
Yeah,
we
I
can
just
see you in a bigger format. And I will now open the debate to the entire room. We obviously have people watching us online, but you also have almost 20 people in this room participating in this Human Academy training for sustainability in cultural agents. And so we have an additional microphone. Would anybody like to ask a question to Samu? Is there anything in the presentation that drew your attention in particular?
Hi. Hi there. Tá.
Sim, temos de ouvir.
No, just for curiosity, because I see and I like that idea of reusing buildings, because it's something that we see in the, before in the capital of culture. There's a lot of construction, like they do in the city, and I think it's better to improve what you already have. How are you dealing with that situation? Did you start already to find places? Are they private? Are they from the state? How?
Yeah, I at least in Finland today is that city organizations are not so willing to anymore make infrastructure. They, at least in Oulu, they try to perhaps find private investors of doing it, and then it's of course quite hard to make a good solution when there's a big economical need and then arts and culture. So it really doesn't work. But luckily we have been able to make that one area. I showed the picture about it, and that's one of the key infrastructure thing, reusing old buildings for arts and culture. But then also there are private initiatives, and as its best cultural capital of Europe can create some kind of spirit. So there are at least 2 or 3 private initiatives about new spaces for creative sector and culture, and that's promising for sure. And then there will be 2030 something, a new bigger arena within our city, but that won't be able to come in year 26. It's a longer term thing. But as a European Capital of Culture organization, we more are willing to use old spaces and actually to show the potential in different places. I think that's the most important thing. You do productions in many different places which are not purpose-built for culture, and by that way you can show actually new ways of doing arts and culture in different kind of places.
So Samu, when you are doing that, the reusing of buildings, as you put it, is that a type of retrofitting? Are you using specific certifications to do with sustainability in the architecture or the construction industry sector? So there are some sector-specific certifications like LEEDs or BREEAM or Passive House. Is this something that you are actively working with over there?
Well, those buildings, what we are working now, most of them are really, really old. So basically, the ideology is just do the renovation what is needed. So I think the standards of making new buildings, new houses, the cost of making that, and to overdo things, that's not the thing what we want to do. So basically, if we are reusing old buildings, so we will do the renovation what is needed, overdo it. So it can be a little robust style of buildings, and still it can be really interesting. But I'm not professional of the standards in the construction things. So, but I have one example of sauna, and there will be within the cultural capital. We are making new big sauna in the city of Oulu, public sauna. And this is the showcase, actually, really ecological buildings. So they are not going to use nails, no anything metal, no glue, no everything. So it's really made with the old Finnish lockwood style, totally ecological building. And with that construction, we also want to show to people how can you still do that kind of houses within our city.
Up for you?
Yes, hello. I was wondering how much the Finland government is how do you say in English, is compromised, is committed to sustainability. So as you, as the capital of culture in 2026, can apply your aims and be working in the same direction.
Yes, when we go to the policy level of Finnish government, so of course they are at the moment we have the political direction that they are really keen on really turning ourselves to green and really looking forward those issues. And of course, Finland has been good example of improving those things. But then at the same time, I think there are no rules from the Finnish state to us that how we need to work. So all the sustainability issue is about our own project and our own themes and the way we wanted to do it. So there are not that kind of guidelines from the state towards us. But I think this spirit and this in the strategical level, how we live in Finland at the moment. So I think we are quite developed into sustainable issues as a whole, as a state.
Thank you.
Mais alguém tem alguma questão? Has anybody else got a question they would like to ask? I have a question, Samuel, actually. You were, at one point in your slides, you were telling us how you are accounting for all your emissions in the events. And this is also something we try to do here in the Azores in different areas. But it's always quite difficult to find a local offset project. So my question is, when you account for your emissions in your events, whether it's in 2026 or the ones that you are doing already, do you offset those emissions? So do you compensate the carbon emissions? And if so, how do you do them? How do you do that offsetting? Is it in local projects? Is it in other parts of the world?
Yeah, this is really crucial and important thing. As I told, I think we need to compensate that somehow. It doesn't make sense to just calculate those things and then it is what it is. And for sure, as I said, it's impossible to do European Capital of Culture without emissions and actually quite great emissions, because you need to fly. We are living in the North Finland. You need to bring artists. That there are just things which you cannot do without. That's the thing, and it's in a way it's a hard balancing act. But then we need to do compensation. We need to do things, and I would like to create a program where we do the compensation within our own area, on our own territory in many kind of ways. And I think that could create another cultural project in a way, if you also get people to work with that compensation project. But this is something we are still working on. It's not ready at all. So now we have identified what we want to do, and the next step is to find the ways how to do it. And of course, we need partners who are the really experts on compensation, and of course looked at what are the vulnerable areas within northern Finland, what we can do here. So for that we need partners who know that area better than us.
And when you calculate the emissions, I mean, is that done by a certification agency, or is that done by your government? How are you going to be measuring the emissions from the events?
Yeah, with the EU project, well, but the thing is that now there's the project is coming to end. It was the project called the most sustainable capital of culture, and there.
You are before 2027, of course.
Yeah, and now the project is coming to end, and now we need to continue the work. So the EU project, it gave us these guidelines, what we want to ask from the project, but it also there was pilots that companies was helping the festivals to calculate the emissions. And now I think there's a need also to teach festival organization to do it themselves as well. But I'm sure it's this kind of hybrid model. In our case, it's so big and quite hard to do it ourselves. So I think we need some kind of company and professional help to do calculations in the ECOC context. But perhaps smaller project can do it itself if there is a teaching.
Thank you, Samuel. Would anybody else like to, Rita, would you do the honors of
closing? Yeah. Can you hear me, Samu?
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to thank you again for being there and here with us. You're 3 hours ahead of us, so it's quite late. I I just want to thank everyone and Coliseum Michelen's team for all your partnership in this process, and also Palco de Ilusões, the streaming operators that are here with us. Okay, so thank you everyone, and see you on Thursday. We will also have a session called Learning from Tartu. This one was called Learning from Oulu 2026. I forgot to mention in the beginning. And Thursday at the same time, 6 p.m. in the Azores time, we'll be here. Thank you, Samu, again.
Thank you, and good luck for your competition and everything.
Thank
I hope
you.
to see you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.